I would just start by asking, how would you describe your relationship with Romania? I know it's a very long relationship, but how would you describe it now?
I think my relationship with Romania is like a love story, and it's very deep and it's very profound, and I just feel at home here.
And does it have to do with people, with, I don't know, your experiences here, with everything?
It has to do with the people I meet, the hospitality, the friendliness, the way they make me feel at home, and it also has to do with the place itself. Like I've been to a few cities, I've been to a few villages, I've been traveling Romania. It's my 31st time here, this time, since 2011. So when I travel around in Romania, it's both the people and the places. And the places, I fall in love with the villages for their authenticity. There is something about the Romanian villages that is very unique, I think, in Europe now. The villages with its traditions, the way people live, it's very special because it's been kept as it has been for I don't know how long, centuries, thousands of years, I don't know. But in the Western world, we are talking about sustainability and sustainable societies. If you look at some of the Romanian villages, they are self-sustainable because that's how life was and it still is. So I feel very, very much inspired when I'm there. This summer, for example, I was traveling with my children and I saw Romania from their eyes as well. And we were talking about being rich and being poor. And there was a moment when my son was playing with a boy. And he was asking me afterwards, this boy, I think his family is quite poor. And I said, I seized the moment to talk about what is poor, what is rich. And I said, this family, they have apple trees, they have plum trees, they have mice, they have corn, they have herbs, they have chicken, they have cows, they have sheep, they have lots of things, so they can provide for themselves, so they can eat and live every day. They have new eggs every day, they have milk every day, they have cheese, they have a house, and they go to school. And then my son, he was looking at me and he sort of paused for a while, and then he said, but he's not poor. And then I thought, maybe he doesn't have all the gadgets that we have, and maybe he doesn't have the social welfare that we have, but he has maybe something else, and we can be rich in many different ways. And I think that the richness of Romania is the richness of humanity, like who we are as people. When I come to Romania, I feel like I am reminded what it is to be a human being, to care about nature, to take care of everything, not to waste things. And I see lots of people here don't waste things because of necessity. And then when I live in Sweden, I feel like I have everything. I don't want to... I would like to say that I am very appreciative of the security that I have with welfare and everything, because that's what my mom and my dad, their generation built for us. But in this welfare and in this society of becoming very efficient with things, we sort of came to a path when I think that people become a little bit robotic. Not everybody, of course, but the way is super efficient, and we sort of, on the way, lack some kind of taking care of each other in a human way. If I ask somebody for help, they would probably send me a link. I don't want a link. I want a personal conversation with somebody who says, "Hey, but I know somebody." And I can see this also as a sign of our times. We become more digital, we are on the net, and that is also something positive. But I think it's important to remember who we are as people. As people, we belong to a group, and we are reflected in other human beings. And I think the human connection is very important. And I feel that I have it more here than I have in for example, in Sweden.
I know you also work to promote Romania. It's not only your personal love story.
No.
You write a lot about this.
Yes.
You post a lot.
Yes.
You have photos. You have stories and
Yes.
experiences with
Mhm.
a lot of people. Why are you doing this?
Because I came here in 1985 when I was very young. I was 13 years old, and that is actually 30 years ago this year. And I find that quite incredible. So very early in life, I started to know Romania, and maybe, who knows, maybe I was here in another time. I don't know. Sometimes I have this feeling I just came back. So very early in life, I got a pen friend from here, and we wrote to each other, and him growing up here under Ceausescu and me growing up in Sweden during the 80s and 90s when we have all of Palme, was two different ways of living. And I think I learned a lot. I started to think a lot about concepts like the freedom of speech, about democracy and what it means. And I started to do lobbying with Swedish media when I was, 16, 17, and I never stopped to write the stories about Romania, but I had the feeling that nobody was really paying attention or was too busy to care, or I don't know. And then when I came back in 2011, which was 26 years afterwards, then I thought that the discrepancy between what Romania really is, what the people are, and what the country look like, and all the traditions and everything that is good about Romania, the discrepancy what media in the West are telling about Romania, the discrepancy was so big. So I had the feeling that the dramaturgy about Romania in the West is already set, and that's the stories that media is producing. When you want the good and the bad, the black and the white, there we go. So for me, it felt like if you are a human being, if I would like to write a story about you, and I only wrote a story about your digit finger or your foot, then the rest of you, what about the rest of you? Or if you look, when you take a picture, you just take a picture of one place. What about the rest in the horizon? I felt that was lacking with the coverage of Romania. And then I thought, I cannot just sit and look. I needed to do something. And then I thought, what can I do? I can write. I love photography. And I'm quite good with social media and those kinds of things. So I thought, how can I use it in a good way? And that's how it started with the Bucharest Lounge. And with the Bucharest Lounge, one of my goals is to lift those people. I want to promote those people and places who do good things about Romania, so that the people here as well can see that there are people who try to do good things here. That
sometimes even for Romanians is amazing what you're doing, because you are bringing positive and good news to Romanians.
I
things
really,
that
really
they
hope.
Don't know about.
I realize this now. And actually this was not a goal for me in the beginning. I had two goals that I sort of articulated myself, and that was to rebrand Romania and invite people back. And in order to combat prejudice, so instead of people being suspicious about Romania and thinking in grayscale, I wanted to wow them, and I want people to realize that there is beauty here. And it's not only about Romania. I think it's all Eastern Europe that struggles with similar things. So then the third objective actually came maybe 6 months after I started the Bucharest Lounge, when I realized that my target group was not the Romanians first. I wanted to reach out to the world, but now I have a huge part is Romanians who lives abroad, and they share the stories from the Bucharest Lounge to their network, and in this way it spreads. And I have now a lot of feedback from people saying this, that we discover a lot of things from Romania through the Bucharest Lounge, and I feel very, very happy about that. And I'm always on the lookout for people who thrive in the field, who leads the way, who it can be the baker in the corner store who has a very positive and optimistic view, or it can be you as a journalist, it can be somebody who works with kids, it can be somebody who is a female entrepreneur, it can be anybody who thrives and wants to do good. We have only one life, so we need to sort of step out of the comfort zone and try to be extraordinary. It's what how I see.
One last thing, because at least we as Romanians, we are used to point to the bad things or the negative sides. There are a lot of things that needs to be solved here, and even related to the image of Romania abroad and even within the country. What should it be done in order to clarify this image and to boost it in a positive way?
First of all, I think that through the Bucharest Lounge, I meet a lot of people who actually are not negative, that actually do stuff. They have projects, they have initiatives, big and small. So if I would make an interactive map of those people, it would be full in all of Romania. So I don't agree with the first thing, but I agree that a lot of projects are being stopped, or maybe it's difficult because of the political situation in this country. Bureaucracy and
corruption sometimes. Maybe.
Yeah. So I think this is stopping a lot of projects and initiatives, and they maybe go slower. And then again, I'm thinking, as I see it, I think that first of all, we don't see anything from Romania when it comes to campaigns, and I can only speak for the Nordic countries. We don't see any campaigns about Romania. Should it be from a level of Romania as a country, or from travel industry? We don't see those things. That's the first thing.
We are lacking this.
Yeah. So if you put it in the context of we are living in a very, very busy world. People are busy, they work, they run, we are occupied with lots of things. Then if you're not seen, you're not heard. So I think some people say, people don't know anything about Romania, and that's so ignorant. And I don't think it's ignorant. It's just a part of how society is now, with people being too busy to sort of sit down. So the first thing would be like to have campaigns with photographers, with artists, with designers, with graphical designers, and there are those campaigns to lift, but they need to be lifted to a more visible level. And
an official level?
Yes,
because
definitely.
If it stays very small, it cannot go very far.
It can go far.
It depends.
It depends, because we have now social media as a tool, which can be a very, very efficient tool, used in a good way. So I think that those who are within social media, if they want to reach out to a context which is not only Romania, an important thing is to speak another language than only Romanian. And to reach out, I think, at least in English, to be able to communicate. I mean, Bucharest Lounge, my language is not English. I use this as a tool of communication. My native language is Swedish. I am a much, much better writer in Swedish than I am in English. So for me, it can be, I feel a little bit courageous to write in English. Saying this, I'm a teacher as well, and I use English often, but it's not my mother tongue. So I think that a lot of people who works with tourism, who are graphic designers, and who are able to sort of have an impact, should also consider to do it in English if their motive is to reach out outside Romania. Because people can be very lazy as well. When we see a picture, we like it. But if you have the story to it, it becomes so much more interesting. So to use English as a tool of communication, I think it's very, very important. I think it should, if you want to reach out, you need to think about the methods to reach out as well. Use pictures as a mean of communication, and focus on the traditions about sort of quality tourism, ecotourism. People are hungry for authentic experiences, going to the countryside, and being a conscious tourist as well is what I see in the future. Romanian wine and food can be one area, the Delta another one. And those close to people experiences, staying in bed and breakfast, I think this is the way to go to promote the good things about Romania, and asking for the tourist to be also a conscious tourist and walk gently on the ground.